We have such an exciting time. Look at this room. We are going to outgrow this room, just like I said. So they visualize it. Yes,
Put it out there as a group.
So we have been having our topics of aging in place, because ever since January when we started this, y'all said you want to stay in your house. So we got to make a plan, right? So I have got 5 awesome people here today to talk about things that we can do to age in our home. And many of you know me. I see some new people out here, but you don't know what I do and why I do it. And I had the very dubious task of doing 3 probates in my family. And if you don't know what probate is, that means someone has not made a plan with what they're going to do with their life, and they die, and then people have to come after them and go through the courts and get an attorney, and it's this big, long, drawn-out, ugly process of sorting through people's things, making very emotional decisions after you've lost a loved one, and trying to sort out their financial and physical affairs. It is not pleasant. So I've done it 3 times, and I come from a long line of hoarders, which makes it even more difficult. So I have seen things that most people should never have to see in their lives. I understand how difficult it is to go through that. So when I moved to Florida 6 years ago, I got my real estate license because every time I sold a property, the realtors were all up in my face. Oh, I'll do everything for you, this and that, I'm the best, blah, 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 sign here, press hard. And guess what? They vaporized and said, let me know when the house is ready so I can put it on the market. Couldn't even give me a referral to like a handyman. And I was 500 miles from my home, so I'm commuting down there. It was really tough. So when I moved here, I said, I'm gonna become a realtor, and I'm not gonna leave people hanging like that, because that was really crappy. And so I did a lot of probate work, thanks to some very kind people who are in this room today. And I was really good at it. And I got all the really hard cases because no one else can seem to be able to handle this stuff. So I did it, and I thought I was going to change the world because I'm nice. But guess what? It didn't happen. So last April, I went back to school, and I got a certification called a Certified Senior Housing Professional. And it's above and beyond what a realtor does. We take a comprehensive look at a person's entire situation, figure out what is best for them, what they want to do, and we work with them, their family, their advocates, or any other professional they have, and we help them get to where they need to go. So essentially, I'm a project manager for people who want to transition, downsize, sell a home, or not sell a home. I've got resources to fix your home. So I'm kind of the catch-all of moving, of senior moves. And my slogan is, making late in life moves stress-free. And it should be, because you've lived in your home for 30, 40 years, and you're thinking about moving. I mean, you may as well just drop dead because it's so stressful. So, oh, Jenny's here, everybody. Yeah, so anyway, so that's what I do. And we have 1 working mic. I'm gonna pass it down, but when we start the presentation, we might not be able to use it. So if everyone can, just keep quiet. I'm gonna have everyone introduce themselves and talk about what they do, okay?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm Jane Snell Simpson, owner of JS1, co-owner of JS1 Construction, also known as the Lifestyle Contractor. I am a general contractor in the state of Florida for 20 years now, and certified aging in place specialist for about 14 of those years. I have worked with families who have decided that they want to age in place, and we've come up with solutions to help them do that. It's very rewarding work. Lately, I've been involved with local government and state government to try to change laws in the ADU, accessory dwelling unit space. I really think it's going to be a game changer when zoning laws can change locally and statewide to allow people to have detached mother-in-law suites, is what that is, in their backyard, so that we can care for our family members. And there's a lot of uses you can have for having one of these things, but that's primarily my my reason for it. I think it can do a lot for us in the state of Florida. We need to be more like Oregon and California, which has embraced these things. So thank you. I'm really, really blessed to be here today.
Good morning, I'm Brett Feldman. I'm the owner of Number One Medical Equipment and Supply. We focus on newer age technologies and medical equipment that make things both beautiful and functional. So, you know, when you see certain things out there that are either maybe too heavy to get into a car or looks like it's too institutional to be in your home, we kind of have that in between where we can make things beautiful yet functional. I'm also a owner of a company called Number One Health and Retirement Solutions, which is an insurance agency focusing on helping people navigate the Medicare process, both getting off of Advantage plans during non-open enrollment seasons, especially as they start to need help. And I'm also a manager at a company called Elder Legal Solutions that help people get Medicaid and VA benefits to also basically navigate all of these things to allow you to stay at home as long as possible. So happy to talk to y'all, and I'm passing the mic.
And I accept the mic. Hello, I'm Allison Wood. I'm an occupational therapist for nearly 15 years, seeing patients clinically, working solely with seniors and adults. I've worked in hospitals, I've worked in assisted living, I've seen patients at home. So I have lots of clinical experience, and over those 15 years have really specialized in educating not just the client or the patient, but also their families, and helping people transition from a medical setting to the home setting. So I also have a private company, Thrive Home Wellness, where we either consult with the family, the contractor, the care manager, what is the best solution to get this person home and then stay home, and then training people on how to use the equipment, whether it's low tech, high tech, major Medicare covered equipment, or simple things that you purchase privately, maybe online. And so we do a lot of home safety assessments, is that better? And installation and training. And so I'm happy to answer any questions and add to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. I work for the Lighthouse for the Blind of the Palm Beaches, and I'm a vision rehabilitation therapist. There aren't too many of us around, maybe 2,000 that are certified. And I have a master's degree in this field. I've been doing this kind of work for over 40 years. I teach independent living skills, and that could be anything that's going on within your home that you need to do. It could be cooking meals, taking your medications, different ways that you can read the bottles so that you take the right meds. Yeah, that's important. Telling time. I have large print calendars. We teach Braille at the Lighthouse, and I learned Braille at one time. And it's like a language you have to practice to keep your skills up. So threading a needle, people just can't believe that they don't have to give up certain things like that when there are so many alternatives. And you know, each person has a different level of independence that they're trying to attain. So it's not like we're trying to make everybody cook and use the stove, but I might be suggesting things like home meal delivery programs. I know.
Yes, I know. OTs and visual therapists or visual specialists go hand in hand. We do so much overlap. Yeah.
Yep. And I actually say that I'm like an occupational therapist for the blind.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's kind of what I do, but she's got all the other disabilities. And a lot of occupational therapists do work with the blind as well. So they're lucky because Medicare pays for them. And Medicare doesn't pay for us. But anyway, it's no problem. We have free services. We have training. And I guess I'll go into that later so other people can talk.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Tiffany DePani, and I have a company called Social Savvy Seniors. And what I do is I help the older population and generations adapt to the digital age. So, I do group presentations, I do one-on-one trainings, from everything on how to use your iPads, your phones, your smart home devices, your computers, your applications. So when you say like, I wish I knew how to do this, I wish I knew how to do that, I wish I could use this better, is there an app for this or that? I'm your go-to girl. So I help everybody with that, because like, who here is intimidated by technology? Like, don't be afraid to raise your hand, right? I'm intimidated by it half the time. And so, but the point of it is, it's there to help you. It's there to be beneficial to you. And there's so many technologies that are out there, not like well beyond your smartphone and your tablets and your computers. The thing though is 90% of these technologies that we use, you need one of these smart devices to control it most of the time. So we need to get you comfortable to this world of technology, because guess what? It's not going anywhere, right? It's only getting more advanced, and it changes all the time, which makes it difficult for us as professionals too to keep up on it, because there's always something new and coming out or being advanced or like updates to your phone. So so that's what I help out with, and I'm just really happy to be here with everybody, and look forward to chatting with you more.
Can you guys hear if we just talk?
Yeah, I can.
Everyone can hear? It'll be easier. I think it'll be easier. Except when we use that $25,000 grant the library just got, we're getting new equipment. It's gonna be exciting. So, one thing about Tiffany, so everyone think you know that my guy is a emergency room doctor. Did you know that there are implanted devices that are controlled by your smartphone? Oh. Even ones that help you go to the bathroom. And somebody's was broken and they had to call the company and get his phone reprogrammed. So,
Could you use the microphone?
okay, microphone, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, big question. When should people start thinking about modifying or doing something to their home? What's a...
Yesterday.
She said yesterday. All right. Let me see.
Short answer.
Yeah, yes.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a big question too. How have things changed in the past decade or so as it relates to home modifications, design features, assisted devices, etc.? And I think I'm going to take it down here for these guys.
I can start. So when you're talking about the home, first and foremost, GPS has changed so much. When we're talking about things like medical alerts, things go with you on the go. So God forbid you have a fall and you're outside your home, if you're wearing, medical alerts, whether that's a watch, a pendant, a bracelet, there's so many different ways they do it now. I personally don't love the iPhone technologies, but there's a lot of good things out there for that. When you're talking about just actual equipment, from everything from, who here has ever got it? Can I ask a couple questions real quick?
Oh, yeah,
Does anybody, who here in the room has long-term care insurance? Okay. So who here actually knows what their long-term care insurance covers? You really don't, because you have to read every line item. You think you do, but you have things buried in there to help you with all sorts of things that your insurance company doesn't tell you about. So you really have to review your entire policy, because you typically have anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 of medical supply coverage. You have lifetime medical alert coverage. You have home modification coverage, and most of these things you don't need an elimination period for. So even though your principal benefits either home care or assisted living, everything else can be covered ahead of time as long as you have an open claim. So those are just some things to think about and really do the research for. Has anybody here ever received any equipment from Medicare?
Anything.
Okay. Anything, a walker, a wheelchair, how to stay? Okay, so if you get a wheelchair from Medicare, right, it's about 36 to 39 pounds. They're heavy. How do you expect your loved one, who's the same age as you, to get that in and out of a car to get you to the hospital, right? Where now there's new technologies where the same sturdiness and accessibility is 13 pounds.
Wow.
There's a lot of new technologies on the market that make a lot of the things that you're stressed about easier. Things like your medical beds, right? Most people think a hospital bed and they're petrified, right? And Medicare is giving you this crappy piece of metal that you crank up and down with a spring mattress, and that's what a hospital bed is. That's not. That's what Medicare covers. Medicare covers baseline items. There's so much new technology and so many things out there. There's beds that come up, rotate, and help you stand up. So if the only thing that's struggling for you is a little bit of transferring, there's beds that literally will help you with that process, just like a lift chair would. Lift chairs of olden days only went up a certain angle. Now there's ones that literally put you on your feet and put you all the way back to sleeping, and a heated massage built into them. I mean, there's just so much out there. So accessibility's changed and technology changes. So as we evolve as technology, the things that are out there to help you stay home change with you. And it's so hard to get that information because there's so much misinformation. So, kind of what I think all we do up here and what we try to do is help you navigate that. As far as the home goes, there's things like now like shower floor inserts. So if you have one of those crazy step up to step downs, and then there's two main places in your home you fall. It's the bedroom and the bathroom. Two main places. I'm saying one floor homes, obviously stairs number one above all else. But even something as simple as just an insert to level out your shower floor, it doesn't have to be a major job. Things that don't affect your home values or things you don't need a permit for. I mean, there's, ramps have changed in weight and accessibility. Grab bars are a lot easier to install these days. Don't use a temporary one. You will fall. They will break, especially if they get wet. Don't do it. But there's also a lot of other cool things. I know, I'm going to hand the mic to Jane, but there's ways to widen hallways, and there's a lot of easy, simpler fixes that really keep the home safer longer.
You said a lot.
Sorry, there was a lot to say.
No, I'm sorry. I think that you handled it very well, and what you said was very important. I'm just going to add to say that I find technology for most people is very overwhelming because there's just so much of it out there, and you don't know where to start. And you need to start small, because that's about all most of us can, including myself, can absorb at a time. And consult with a specialist, because they're doing this all the time. They're going to think about things in a holistic, like your whole home type situation, because you live in your whole home, and look at things from that standpoint, not just like a silo in the bathroom and just one little thing. And I would say just start small and don't let it intimidate you, because it can be very intimidating, all the technology out there. And that's it.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
That what I've noticed working with people is when they need something, some people go directly to a store, an equipment store, which is great. But a lot of people say, oh, my kids are just gonna order it for me on Amazon, which is wonderful. Now we have all the convenience of ordering things online, and it comes right to you. And yes, sometimes you can return things, but a lot of personal care items you cannot return. And there are so many options, and many of them are not appropriate for maybe you and your specific needs. So you really have to do due diligence, which is hard to do, because how are you supposed to know what size and what angle and what method of installation and what will fit and what won't fit? So make sure that you don't just automatically say, oh, I'm just gonna order it on Amazon and my kids will install it and it will be easy peasy, because it's not always so easy, and now you've spent more money and more time wasted on choosing the wrong device. Infomercials late at night are gonna try to trick you into ordering one of those walkers where your hands are up here and you're walking up in a vertical. You can't put that in a car. You can't get that through your doorways, and it's also not research proven to help you. So just because somebody advertises it, and just because it's available easily to order and it comes right to your door, doesn't mean it's the best solution for you. Try putting a tub bench together appropriately, right, without the right tools, and now you've fallen in the tub and you thought you could have been more safe in the tub. So just a word of caution.
I'd like to add some information about technology for the blind, because there are, it's a very important part of what we do. And we have teachers that are visually impaired themselves, and they're teaching. the accessibility features on computers and tablets and cell phones, they can be set up so that you can talk to the device and ask questions and tell it what to do. So if you have your contact list, your telephone contact list programmed in, you can just say, call home or call this person, and the phone dials it for you. I mean, that's just one example. There are many other features like color identification, money identification, optical character readers where you point the phone at a page and it reads out loud what's on the page. So if you have the ability and interest to learn about these things, it can make a big difference in your life.
And it's changed so much, even just in the past 5-10 years. It's just amazing.
Yeah, the one thing that I've changed that I see that you guys will probably agree with is telemed. So does anybody use telemed? Where telemed is telehealth, like when you're with a doctor, a virtual appointment with a doctor. Anybody done that yet? Okay, general consensus, do we like it? No, yes?
It's
Okay.
convenient, but it's also not as personal, right?
It's
like
convenient.
everything has a toss-up.
Right, it's convenient, it's not as personal, but for situations that call for it, for example, if you have mobility problems and you're getting your annual sinus infection that you know you get every April when the pollen comes out, and you just need your Z-Pack, and your doctor for 20 years has been prescribing the Z-Pack, why would you, if you have mobility issues, why would you take all that time and risk to go to the doctor's office, sit in the doctor's office with sick people, wait all that time, and then to come back just to get a medication that you know you needed? Or the consultations, like if anybody's on medication that you have to see the doctor every 2 months, like what's the controlled substance medication, you have to see the doctor just to check in. If you have mobility issues, if you have immune problems and you don't want to go put yourself in that situation, you don't have to. Now, yes, if you have obviously health concerns, you go see the doctor. But this is an option available to you that, I mean, look at when the pandemic happened. That was your only option. So if you didn't know how to use it, you were left out. And that's where the whole technology thing becomes a little unfair, and that's a conversation for another day.
Can I just add one quick thing to that?
Yeah.
For anybody, for anybody in the room not on an Advantage plan, so if you're on traditional Medicare, concierge medicine is actually included. So doctors that make home visits is included in your traditional Medicare. It's the same way as if you went to a doctor. So Medicare dropped telemed in 2024 as a payable thing. So you'll usually see a bill on the back end for like $35 or $40, where doctors will come to you if you're on traditional Medicare. And you also can get things like remote patient monitoring. So those immediate visits could be like a more comprehensive doctor visit, but it's all in your home. So you don't have to worry about going out. These things actually can come to you. And it's all covered.
You don't have to be rich and bougie to have
No,
concierge.
you don't. You don't. It's like the biggest misconception. You don't have to pay these fees. It's literally covered in traditional Medicare with secondary.
You can add the doctor coming to your home.
Yeah. Primary care at your door is covered under traditional Medicare.
Or maybe not because we're a doctor.
There's plenty of great groups out there that do this type of thing.
I'm gonna add another small story, but an example of this. When COVID first hit, we closed the lighthouse for a year. And I had to figure out a way how to teach all of these clients. So I started out on the telephone, but I didn't like doing it that way. I thought it was hard. So I set up classes on Zoom, and my clients can come, and I teach everything that way, and they don't have to leave the house. So you can be creative, you know. Teachers can be creative and come up with ways to do these things. Now that COVID is not much of a presence in our lives, our clients, they don't want to come into the center because they live in 5 counties, and that some of the places they would have to travel 2 hours. So they come to my classes, they're happy, they learn, okay?
Look at all this good stuff we're learning. I thought we were gonna talk about toilets and door handles.
I love talking about toilets.
That's, me too, that's important,
kind of
that's
the thing.
important too.
Because I made this great slide that talks
Okay,
about all this
Do
stuff.
you want me to talk about toilets?
And they're
Talk about
like
it.
dropping
I'm happy to talk about toilets.
Everybody needs a toilet.
Well, I mean,
Do you guys know there's lifts for toilets that actually help you
Yes,
get up and down
so-
if you have strokes? Like
well,
there's,
not only that, but that's another topic, to get to, the simple stuff, like
ADA
a porch
compliance
railing,
side.
the door handles, those
The
high
appropriate
toilets,
sizing
I
of
will tell you, those are good, I
Yeah.
like those. But I'm gonna put it back down here, so they can talk about these simple things.
sorry, I apologize. We'll get more simple.
So most people think that there's you put those elevated toilet seats on your toilet if you need them a little higher. They're not safe. They aren't at all. If you tip to the side, you are going to tip over. I've had so many of my clients who've had falls because of an elevated toilet seat, and then the immediate response is, let's use a commode, right? A 3-in-1 commode. We'll put that over it so it's a little bit higher. That's not terrible. It's not terrible. There's better versions of it, but it's not a bad option. Also, though, if you have really bad mobility issues and a lot of these falls happen getting on or off the toilets, there are things like toilet lifts, dignity lifts, that actually, if you push a button, it'll help you stand back up to your feet. When you need to go, you push a button, it lowers you back down. ADA compliance is 18 inches for toilet seats. Most homes in this area were built with 15.5-inch toilets. So your toilets are usually 2.5 inches too low to help you actually get up, or for somebody who needs to transfer off of a wheelchair, that 18 inches is also meant for that because the average height of base of floor to the bottom of a wheelchair seat is 18 inches. So there's a lot of things, small things to consider. Our homes were not built with aging in them in mind. They weren't. It's not what it was. So having people that are specialists with that come to your home, I do I'm not supposed to say it, but I do a 17-point home safety when I go into a home. There's an outline for it. If you and a loved one want to do it, you can find them online. Print one out, walk through your home. There's one over there. 17-point home safeties are amazing guides to see what you really need. Door handles, if we're talking about, it's also funny because of hurricanes, right? So this is a really bad thing in Florida. Doors have to go one way, right? So when you're putting a ramp in, it makes it a little bit difficult because you're gonna have to navigate that extra little step because they don't want your doors flinging in. But there's also some new technologies and new things coming out every day about navigating either front doors, sliders where it actually retracts and something goes over and then pulls back. That will be out within a few months. It's being built right now. So there's lots of ways that your whole home can still be accessible. I hate when people say, I can't use my pool anymore. Yes, you can. There's ways to make it work. I can't get on my patio anymore. Yes, you can. There's ways to make it work. So there's lots of ways to get the full use of your home and not leave the home you've loved for so long.
Give it to the contractor now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
so-
how do you
How
actually?
do we install it?
How do
What
we
does it
install
cost?
Well, I'm really just gonna say, because everything you said is great and I agree with. But there's one thing that I think is like an elephant in the room, because I think we wait until we're at a certain age before we start thinking about these things. And there's a certain thing called universal design, which is not talked about a lot, not as much as I think it should, but it kind of takes the stigma off of the word aging in place. I really don't like that term. They need to find a nicer way to say that. Living in place. How about that? But yeah, because it really shouldn't be around age. We concentrate way too much on that. There are many things that can be done just because. When was a 20, 30-year-old, whatever. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. We did some things to our own home when we moved in it. And it was because I speak all the time about, people should do this, we talked about grab bars, but handles, something as simple as a lever handle. We just did a lot of the things that I talk about all the time because I wanted to try them on an everyday basis, because I'm talking about it, I'm asking all of you guys to do this. So it only made sense. And I think it was the best thing that we could have done. All around the home, we've done many things that are just more of a universal design type situation, meaning it's for any age. It's for any person, as many people as possible to be able to use, and we're not putting up barriers. Because I really feel that the way homes were built many, many years ago, and they're still doing it actually, you're really creating barriers for people instead of trying to make it welcoming. And maybe not on purpose, but that's what's happening.
One thing that we mentioned a couple lectures ago was, so if I do all this, does it hurt the resale value of our home? And I know that's not necessarily what we're talking about today, but it doesn't. If you follow universal design, meaning you're making it accessible for everyone, then it's not all this medical equipment that's hurting the resale value of your home. It's making it more appropriate and inviting for all of your friends who may be aging or have disabilities, or your grandkids who may have autism or CP or some other condition, so that they can come and also function in your home. Universal design is a wonderful way for us to stay in our homes, but it's not just for you, it's for everybody who comes to your home, and then everybody who's going to use your home in the future. You know, they'll be appreciative that the work was already done. If you have a hard time getting through your 18, 17-inch doorways, the person who buys the home is certainly going to have a hard time. So they'll be glad that all of that is done, widened and accessible for them.
So I want to ask Jane about more involved things. So let's say, you know, we know we're going to stay, if someone's in a wheelchair now, what are some things that they can do, like say their kitchen? Do they need to remodel their whole kitchen, or are there little things they can do in there? Do they need to change the height of the counters? I mean,
Yes, I'm gonna say yes to all those things because there are some standards that, and it's really around the same universal design principles. If you think about universal design, you really can't go wrong at any age. Because it's not an age thing, it's just about being able to use your space. And what if you, God forbid, what if something happened, you had a fall? Don't care what your age is, you're gonna have issues in that home now that you didn't have before. You're all of a sudden gonna encounter that this home is not as, maybe as usable and as great as you thought it was. So that's a really good reason. You asked me about,
what about taking out the shelves under a sink so that they can get the wheelchair in?
we did a home a number of years ago, and you also mentioned, something about maybe an eyesore and people not wanting to do it because it creates, you know, the look. And that's one thing that I'm different because I look at things, yes, I'm gonna be very, very practical in terms of the things that I suggest, but I look at it as the look of it first, because I know that's what you're thinking, even if you don't tell me that. You don't wanna do these things that I'm gonna suggest, because you're thinking it's gonna be ugly, I'm gonna put in these ugly, shiny ramp in front of your home, and everyone's gonna know now. You know, I know. So I approach things a bit different than most other contractors. I look at, does whatever I'm gonna suggest, does it go with your surroundings? Does it look like it belongs there? Does it look, you know, I go the extra mile to make sure it does, because even if I suggest it, you're not gonna take my advice because you're gonna say it's ugly. I don't want this in my home, who would? So that's one thing. But we did a kitchen along with flooring and other things in this home a number of years ago. And this person went all out because she was taking care of her mother, who's in a wheelchair, and her husband was overweight, but he loved to cook. And I listen to all of these things, and sometimes I work with designers as well, but if everyone's unique and every situation is different. So if I'm gonna be the best that I can to help this person, then I have to listen. And the things that we did in this kitchen, I felt were really, really remarkable. Now, she's a designer, so that worked very well for her. She's also a certified aging in place specialist, so she knows these things. But we were there to help her carry it out. And it was so much fun. I mean, I wished I didn't bring pictures, but this is one of those cases where the picture is worth 1,000 words, and you would have really saw the value. But I can tell you just in a short snippet the thing that I thought most about is when this kitchen is done, it needs to just be beautiful, period. When I don't want someone to come in and say, well, this was done because, of an issue, or because someone needed it, in a wheelchair needed it. No, I just want it to be a gorgeous kitchen. And then when they're using it, that's when the value comes. We thought about things in terms of a sit-down space for you to prepare your meals, with water access there. You can cut up vegetables. We thought about dishwashers being raised up a bit so you don't have to bend so far down. We thought about appliance garage, where there's a larger area where you have all your small appliances, but you're not picking them up and carrying them someplace. That's where accidents happen. We thought about the flooring. She used cork flooring. That's not something that people really know a lot about. But cork flooring, if you did have a fall, it would be softer, on your body, on your limbs. There's so much. I can't name everything, but if you saw this, you mentioned the different countertop heights. We had 3 different countertop heights. And that's for, what if the grandkids wanted to come help bake cookies? They would easily be able to do this because we have countertop heights that is just at their height. There was a lot of love put in this home, but there was also a lot of very smart decisions made about this home that, no matter what age, you would have loved to have been there and utilized this kitchen. So I hope that kind of...
Can any contractor do universal design?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Right? Because you're gonna just say, oh, I know my neighbor Joe is a contractor, so he can do this too. But
Well, I'm gonna say this, no, not every contractor can do this job. It does take special care, special training, a sense of understanding your client and what they're going through and what they may be feeling, speaking their language. Most contractors I know cannot do that. So you have to ask questions to see if you're working with the right person.
I have a question. Yeah, what is quartz flooring and where do you get it? I've never heard of it and I don't know of any store that carries it.
Quartz
Cork.
flooring.
What is that?
Like
Like
your
what you put in the
wine.
wine bottles.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
Like
backed,
one bottle.
it's the flooring that's backed with cork. So it's sort of providing a little bit of extra insulation and padding. It's not like a bouncy trampoline, but it's much more protective and shock absorbent than if you were to fall on tile, right? So it's like LVP has cork backing, some LVP.
Yes, but there's also cork flooring.
Yeah, okay.
Real cork flooring.
Straight cork.
That looks, and they've gotten really smart with the styling of it, so it looks like it can belong in your home and not look, odd. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, I do have to leave, and I wish I didn't, because this is wonderful. But I'm a green interior designer, and yes, there is cork flooring, and it is the most comfortable and the very best for the human frame. So it's something to think about, and you can, if you can't get it locally, you can get it online, and what you said, they're incredibly beautifully today. The Library of Congress, the cork flooring is over 100 years old and it's still there. And I apologize, I would love to stay longer.
Well, next time to a lot more time. But also cork flooring, it helps deaden sound.
Yes, it does.
Bye, Bernadette. So I want to, we'll go to you, and then we're going to talk about technology.
Okay. So for the visually impaired, there are all kinds of modifications that can be made within the home, and most of them are really they're not expensive. They make common sense. When you were talking about the toilet seats, there are you can put light. There's a light you can put under your and you can it changes colors. So let's say you can't find your toilet because you can't see it well enough. So you can have this light on, and it
illuminates the bowl. So that
yes.
you can, so it's better than just a nightlight in the bathroom. Now it's a motion sensor. When you walk in the room, the toilet bowl itself lights up. So you can
It's kind of pretty, like.
Sit or aim, and then accordingly.
Yeah, kind of like your pool, you know, a swimming pool has lights, color changing lights.
What about like, those bidets to help kind of clean the undercarriage?
I recommend bidets for some clients who have maybe a temporary or permanent issue reaching. So, it's one thing to get to the toilet, through the doorway. It's another thing to get on and off the toilet. And then the third part of toileting is managing your clothing and your hygiene. So you have to consider all of those aspects when you're toileting. And so for somebody who has shoulder injury, hemiparesis from a stroke, carpal tunnel, or rheumatoid arthritis, and they can't manage the toilet paper, spinal surgery, and they're not allowed to rotate to wipe or bend to wipe, and you have to think about how you wipe. Not to get graphic, but a bidet attachments are, and you might have a different opinion, but a bidet attachment can be very helpful, and they're relatively simple to install on a standard toilet. It ties into the plumbing, and I would definitely recommend having a professional install it. Don't let your son, Jim Bob, install it, but it just, with one switch, the little lever comes up, sprays you clean, so you don't have to wipe necessarily, but pat dry. And so it makes it a lot easier for people who might have hemorrhoids or might have mobility issues reaching their posterior. And you can talk to any plumbing supply company to order and install, or any of us, obviously.
I'd probably also mention just there have been some changes to the actual toilet lids and how things are done, so that you have to be very careful when you buy one. Don't just go buy one, take pictures first.
Right, make sure it suits your toilet,
right.
your needs, your
But I'll
space.
also say, considering that most of your toilets are not ADA compliant, you can just go buy a toilet with a bidet built in,
Yeah.
and that's probably the best thing to do. Also though, if you end up utilizing and wanting to get one of these things like a dignity lift, they do have them with bidets built in. Bidets are phenomenal, and there's plenty of good ways within technology. It's just, if you don't install it right, I've seen one too many times where water just goes everywhere.
Even on the full toilets, I mean, everything has its
so I would just
pros and cons.
I would definitely be careful when you buy one. External bidets, if you are able to reach, do work really well as well. They aren't, if you can't turn or reach or move your shoulder for whatever reason, getting one installed in is a better way to go.
I want a bidet. I'm just saying.
Let me say something real quick because we was talking about the toilet. I mentioned that when we moved and I did work in my own home, a lot of the things that I talk about we installed so I could test them out. And I know for sure they were. The toilet, we got a smart toilet and it has bidet and you walk up to it and it lights.
Lid raises.
The lights go on.
It cleans itself.
It does.
It
I'm so
dries you.
thankful for it because I actually had a surgery a couple of years ago and I couldn't bend like normal. And so I was very thankful that we've done this, and it makes a big difference.
It also dries you. Doesn't
Yeah,
just-
oh yeah, it has a fan, it dries your tush off.
You don't walk around wet all day.
If anyone, I have these pamphlets, and some of the things, including this light up toilet, is actually in there. If anybody wants to grab it, these are like daily household gadgets. A lot of them are that you can use around your home if you're curious. I was with a conference a couple of years ago, and these were the pamphlets that we used. So I just wanted to add that.
When we did our home, we did a 0 threshold shower. I'm an amputee myself, so I just was anticipating like, well, if we're gonna be in this home for the next 30 years, I wanna make sure I can still get in and out of the shower. So I helped the contractor because they were not CAPS or Universal Design certified, but I explained the slope that we wanted, and people think, oh, if I do 0 threshold, the water's gonna get everywhere. Well, it won't if you design it properly and you have the right person look at it. 0 threshold means there's no curb, there's no step, there's no nothing. You just go from the shower floor right into your shower, so that if you needed a walker, a wheelchair, a something to get into the shower in 10 years for some reason, or tomorrow for some reason, you can easily do that. And then it saves you some shower floor space so that now you could put a chair or a fold down bench or something in your shower.
I wanted to add some information about the kitchen that was brought up earlier. My clients often cannot see the controls on their appliances to operate them. So one thing that we do that really works is to put touch dots on the controls.
Simple.
It's so simple. Exactly. Like, for example, on a microwave oven, you might put a raised tactile dot on the 1 minute button and the off stop button, and that's it. And then they're just pressing the button how many times they want. Or you can get more complex and mark the keypad. Using contrast is an important part of what we do. So, like, you might have colored electrical plate covers so that you can find where to plug in your appliances more easily. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that can be done to make life simpler. And I have these vision simulation cards that I would like to pass out because it gives you an idea when you look through it. What is it like? What are you seeing if you have macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and cataracts? And so if you hold this up and try and do something, you'll see what happens and why people have problems.
Okay, Tiffany, program our smart toilet.
Yeah. You can.
Okay, so we've heard about all these very helpful things, but we've heard there's a lot of technology, and Tiffany specializes in things like that, like programmable smart things in your home. Like, it kind of scares me, but anyway, she'll tell us about what we can do to help us. You know, our superpower is asking for help. I think you've heard the story before about the lady that said, I'm gonna take my painting down all by myself, and it fell down on her and broke her collarbone and the bone shot out her arm. She wasn't going back home, so we asked for help. I just have to tell you, ask for help.
So there's a lot of home automation that you can do and control it. There are things as simple as who here has an Alexa device? Oh goodness, we all need Alexas in our home. Okay, so for example, I can walk into my house and I can say, Alexa, put the AC at 72. So somebody with a vision impairment that can't go over to the thermostat and read it, or you're in bed and you don't want to get up to go do that, I say, Alexa, put the thermostat at 72. I can also set a routine so that at 7 o'clock at night, this light goes on, that light goes on, my AC goes down for the night, and then at 7 a.m., those lights go off, the AC goes back up for the day, etc. I can also, there's been many times where I have gotten into bed and said, oh my gosh, did I lock the door, right? And I don't have to worry about that anymore because I just say, Alexa, lock the door, or I just go on my phone and it locks the door for me. You know, you have security items like a Ring doorbell. Does anybody have a Ring doorbell? Okay, so it's for security, but think about somebody who, if you're in your home and you have mobility issues and it's a pain in the butt to have to actually get up and come to your door, if you have your phone next to your Alexa and you can answer it and it's just UPS dropping off something, you might not have to take the time to get up, get your walker, get whatever, and then go to the door and answer it. You can take your time because you saw on your phone or your Alexa who was there. Now, if it's like somebody visiting you or somebody, then you get up, but it saves you that risk. I even say something as simple as, does anybody have pets? Dogs and cats, right? I know I saw a little cutie pie come in. All right, so what do you do to feed your cats and dogs?
You bend down.
You do
You
this.
scoop, you bend down and pour.
How many times a day? At least twice, right? So if you didn't have to do that twice a day to feed the animals, there are automatic feeders and there's automatic water supplies and everything, so you can fill that up for a good week or two, and it actually portions it out. And my uncle, I got him one that it actually records his voice, and so at 4 o'clock at night, you'll hear, "Here, kitty, kitty, dinner time," and the cat comes running out of the room, and it dispenses the food, and he's good. So, but we think of it as, sometimes we think of these technologies as it's just lazy on my part. And you come from a generation that laziness you don't go along well, right? But it's not. It's convenience, it's safety, it's minimizing risks that we don't even think about. So there's so many automations of, just think of the simple technology of a motion detection light. Having those through the house, having those when you walk up to your door, having those, all those things. So, I could sit here forever and tell you all the things that my home can do automatically. I tell it to turn off the lights, I tell it to turn off stoves. Now you have ones that actually the stove, they're automatic shutoffs. So you can put it into your, on your stove, and it will, after 2 or 3 hours, it actually shuts your stove off. It cuts the power. But some of these things you don't need to go spend thousands of dollars on to do. They're just outlets. You can make your outlet a smart outlet by just getting an adapter that's $5 or $10 on Amazon, right? Or you can get the digital thermostats for $80, $100 on Amazon. Or you can get a door lock for $150, So they're not exuberant prices to do this. You just have to get the right person to install it and then and show you how to use it.
Mother's Day and Father's Day is coming up, so you can ask for a Google Nest or an Alexa device.
Alyssa?
I had difficulty with the Google Nest for my thermostat. My home in Massachusetts, we got one for the winters when we're here, so we can control the heat there or keep it low. And the house was built in 1994, but what I discovered after installing it, the wiring in the wall wasn't sufficient for the Google Net, for the new thermostats. There was a 5th wire or 6th wire that wasn't there from the furnace, so that it worked, but then it would keep shutting itself off, and it also was turning itself on to a high heat. So I ended up spending extra money by investing in this Google Nest. My point is, and then the house here was built 1958. So there's certain things for the smart that you have to check the wire.
Well, you have to know, you're right, exactly. And that's where professionals like all of us come in to say, hey, you want an automated thing of this is what your house can do. When it comes to Google versus Amazon, Alexa, Google runs the world in so many ways, but voice technology and automated technology is not one of them. Alexa is the by far superior product for voice technology, and other products are now implementing Alexa technology. So one thing you know is your little bubble is not an Alexa, it's an Echo device. Alexa is the voice technology that it uses. So now when you go buy a TV, when you buy headphones, when you buy anything, it'll say Alexa friendly or Alexa capable. And that means that you can tie that into your Alexa. 90% of products are doing that more with Alexa than they're doing it with other brands like a Google Nest or an Apple Home system. It's just Alexa was the first. They were the dominator. They own more than 40% of the market share in this industry. So this was the case where the first one, the early bird got the worm, and there's really no surpassing them at this point.
You know, so I just wanted to point out one thing that you seem to have all skipped over. When my husband passed away, I got this med alert to wear because I was afraid. And then I suddenly realized I don't need it. I've got my Alexa, and wherever I'm in the house, I could say, Alexa, call 911. Alexa, call
So
my
one of the
brother.
things that we talked about earlier, though, is
And-
that now they're built in with GPS, so they go with you.
Yeah.
Where
They go what?
They go
the
with
medical alerts now go with you.
Yeah,
So
it
they're
used to
not
be
just
tied
meant
to
for
a
the home.
landline.
And God forbid you fall down and you hit your head and you can't say Alexa, that has a fall detection built into it,
I like
and it
that.
will automatically call
That's what the new
911.
one.
So the new
So
watch
it's
is right.
definitely different than what you had in the past, and that technology got better because the thing that they were noticing very quickly was everybody was stopping doing them because they had Alexa. And then what they, though, at the same time noticed was the amount of patients that could have been saved by, you know, the fall detection that they gave up.
It also does it if you're in a car accident.
Yep.
If you're in a car accident. One thing to point out is there's usually not one technology that solves all your problems. Right? So there's not that one solve all kind of fix it deal. You might need complementary devices to round out your whole safety. So yes, having Alexa in your home and being able to say, you actually can't say Alexa call 911 anymore because too many kids were doing it and it was lagging up. There is a program called Alexa Together, and it's $20 a month, and it puts you can say, Alexa, I need help, and it puts you immediately with somebody. It's a whole caregiving program. You could say, Alexa, call my daughter, Alexa, call, but you cannot say, Alexa, call 911. But that's great for your home, but now you take your smartwatch or your medical device with the GPS or whatever. Please have GPS on your devices, please. That takes your safety outside of the home. So again, just when you're thinking of this, even I'm sure for vision, there's one thing that's good for something, but maybe there's another thing that's better for another application.
Fall detection is huge.
And I think I mentioned last month my computer decided to die, and my computer died last month, and I spent like 4 hours at the Apple store. Every single customer there was a senior getting an Apple Watch.
By the way, does a Google Watch also have this same feature, the fold-down feature that you know of?
That I don't know because I've never worked with the Google Watches. Apple's always been. I work with the
Samsung.
The Samsung watches do.
But
And Android.
I'll also say, just
Yeah.
as Tiffany said, you know, Alexa dominates the market, right? Your Apple Watch their main priority is not your fall detection. It's not your medical concern. It's not. That's why if I was you, I would be focusing more on a medical alert that was built for that one main thing, and let your Apple Watch let you surf the internet and take your text messages and do all the things that really it was built for. Yes, it's a nice added feature, but if you actually read the studies, it's not great. It's not great. Medical alerts that do one thing. They are meant to help you if you fall, if you need help, if you need assistance, if you need a paramedic. It
And
saves
they're really
lives.
pretty now.
And they're pretty. They're watches. They're whatever you want it to be.
They're watches.
Absolutely. If you want to talk more about it, I'm happy to help you with it. But
They
it's
have really pretty necklaces.
everything.
They have pendants.
You can
so you don't
accessorize it
scream,
however you want.
I need help. That big. I mean, let's face it. Red's not my color. Remember those big red buttons that you used to wear? Doesn't go with half what everybody's wearing in the room right now. So
Right. It can
really
be.
pretty
It can be
stuff.
very. You know, it doesn't have to be
Discreet.
something that shows it. It can be discreet. It can be easy to use. It can be easy to manage. And it doesn't. I wouldn't. I'm a big proponent for get the thing that is meant to help you with the thing that you're doing. Right. Some things have multifunctionality, but certain things are so important. You should focus on the main functionality, and to me, that's one of them.
I like that.
They also come with like those alerts by the shut off the stove. They even have one that if the water boils and starts to hit your stove, it'll shut it off. Like the medical alerts are great, It has remote patient monitoring now a lot of times, where it can be built into a sensor above your bed that tracks your breathing patterns. There's so much more to the technology that really allows you to live at home forever. And a lot of that stuff is complementary to a lot of those home doctor services that will monitor those readings.
I'm in the process of needing a new TV, and I noticed that I have to sit closer to the TV now. I also wear hearing aids to listen with the headphones and so forth. And I don't know where to go, how to shop for a TV. And
We can talk later.
Pardon?
We can talk later if you want.
Okay.
It's just the space, you know, how much space you have, how much you want to spend, and what capabilities it has.
I don't want to waste my money buying the wrong TV. I don't want to go buy a $400 TV if I can't hear it and I can't see it. I mean,
Right, no, yeah.
do I have to spend?
Well, the first thing to know is what kind of technology your hearing aids are using, so that we can find out if that's gonna be compatible.
Like your cell phone can talk to your hearing aids, your TV can go through your hearing aids. A lot of times they can be compatible, but you have to get the right.
And it
Yeah,
drives you
through the
nuts, and
Bluetooth.
it drives you crazy.
Well, you guys have to then know how to turn it off when it's time to turn it off. There's also a lot of accessories to your TVs that help with that sort of things. Sound bars, there's extra digital pixelizations. Now, there's a lot of cool things. It's just that Tiffany's really the expert. You should 100% talk to Tiffany about it.
Mary Beth, you got a question?
You've talked about, doctors, Medicare covers home doctor visits. How do we find a doctor that will make a visit?
So I own part of a practice. I will happily set you up. It's completely covered. I do own part of a practice. I don't talk about it a lot because it's not, again, we're not advertising, but if you want that, you can have your initial physical within 48 hours.
Yeah, it's not for me here.
No,
it's for a relative outside of
I'm sure.
county.
We do things, when we bring people up here, we're not trying to solicit you or do things. We want it to be a safe space. However, I have vetted these people. I know that they're good. And if you want information from them, or if you want to share your information so that they can help you, that's why we have the evaluation form. You just check the box and I will give it to them, and they will, we're honoring the trust here that we have, that you want this sort of help, they can help you. So I'm just trying to keep it very ethical, and because I bet you've found out that there's a lot of people out there that want to get in your pockets, and so that's why we do it that way. I want this to be a safe space for you, but at the same time, I don't want them to feel like they can't help you. We're not selling you, but yes, these are the people that you want to talk to, and we want to be the information hub. And if there's something that you heard or something that comes up, you have my contact information. Reach out to me, and I will go out to my network and I'll find it. If I don't know someone, Tiffany probably does, or Brett does. Brett didn't even say he has like 80 businesses that he runs.
I was just saying, how do you have time?
But he is very dedicated in everything he does. It's not like all these different things. They're all related, and so it's
They
to
all
help.
help the same person.
Yeah, they all help the same people, which is you. So that's what we're doing. So who has more questions? Because we're in the Q&A section. Jim.
I had a general question for Tiffany. I know a lot of us were scared of technology because we've heard these horror stories about people, giving their information to somebody. I don't know which apps to trust, which websites to trust, and therefore I'm just kind of not doing a lot of things because I don't really want to go down and have to, reestablish my credit or whatever.
Right. Yeah, no. The number one reason that the older generations don't use technology is safety concerns. The second is intimidation, and just it's a foreign language.
It's frustrating.
Well, it's not that it's frustrating. It's the reason that it's foreign and new that makes it frustrating. Once you get it, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's like that's
but
easy.
it's anything
Learning curve.
that it's like, but it's also like, who here has traveled internationally? If you don't know the language, right? Yeah, well, okay, but we didn't have Google Translate back then. But if you traveled, you know, there's a whole nother language to that country. There's a whole nother language and even etiquette and social norms to technology. So once you get more comfortable with them, but to address your question, is it safe? That's what I get the number one. Is it safe? Well, was driving here down US 1 in North Lake safe? Not really. You know, so we take risks every day, but what do we do to minimize those risks? So that's why I do technology classes on safety and security. I can come sit with you in your home and say, this is how you should look at an app. Like, for example, how many downloads has it gotten? You know, not so much the reviews, but how many, if it's got 5,000 downloads versus 5 million downloads. We think of 5,000 being a lot, but in the download world, it's peanuts, right? So there are things like what if you can look up at the top of your screen, before you put any information, if you look up at the top of your website and there's a little secure bar, like a lock bar, to make sure you're on a secured site before you put your credit card information in or anything like that. So there are ways to protect yourself, but you have to be educated on them. You have to be aware of them, and that's what that's what my mission and my purpose is to really, educate. It's educate and empower, and that's what my goal is.
So there's a lot of good online sources like LifeLock, Safe Secure. If you're an Amex customer, you actually have a subscription built into your Amex, an annual subscription for one of those types of services. Just check it out. There's a lot of extra things that are built in, but those services give you immediate alerts if anybody gets your information.
Is LifeLock enough if you've got LifeLock?
So I've had a lot of people tell me LifeLock's great. I personally, I forget the name of the one that Amex gives me that I use, and I haven't had problems personally. And I download a lot of apps, and I always though say this, and I know this is crazy to say, but like if somebody wants to break into your home, they're gonna find a way, right? The matter is that how do you save yourself when that happens? And that's what really those LifeLocks and Safe Secures are for. And if you are like an Amex customer, as I mentioned, I think also Bank of America has one as well.
AARP has one.
AARP has one. They're literally included with your memberships. You don't have to spend the extra money. You already have it.
And what is it?
It's just an automated, it gives you, it's real-time alerts and notifications if there's any dings on your credit, or your name is found on the dark web, or there's been
your social security number has been used.
Number
They
was
say
used.
that there's an unusual charge on your credit card.
No, that's going to be your credit card
card.
company. This is saying like somebody's
Similar
getting your
idea.
personal information and utilizing
When you say
this, and
identity
these
theft.
services either send you an alert via text message, email, call you, depending on how you program it, to let you know that you have an issue.
Also, what she just said, like your credit card company sends you an email and says there's unusual activity. Do not click it. Go up to the bar and click on that address and see if it actually came from Citibank or whoever. A lot of times it's Joe Schmo at Gmail who made this thing up and is fishing for your information and wants you to start putting your passwords in and all that. Don't do that, because they're going to want you to pay them off in gift cards. Don't do that either.
Don't click any links, just don't click,
Just
don't
call
open any
Yeah,
attachments.
just call your credit card, call the bank, call who you know and trust to make sure.
Don't call the number in the email.
Yeah, don't call the email number. Go to your card and look on the back and call them.
I got caught there.
Yeah. So
Number one
someone
scam
who knows
on Amazon.
the best did it. She got scammed. She couldn't believe it. She's like, I can't believe I fell for this. She did. More questions?
Excellent.
Okay, so now that we're on the scams, our next coming in July, I've got in May we're bringing back Adele Harris, the estate planning attorney. We're also going to bring in an expert to speak on guardianships, because I think we need to know what that means. There's a lot of confusion about that. In June, we're going to have Alzheimer's and dementia, and I want to do it differently. There's a lot of people who need help with that, and so we're going to do our regular talk, but we're also going to have support people for people who have a loved one they're working with. And then in July, we're going to do avoiding homeowner scams, and so far I've got someone coming from the county clerk's office. Did you know you can put a property alert on your property? Did you know that if you have your house and you're paid in full on it, that people are preying on you, trying to steal your house? Transfer the deeds, yeah, that happens. So if anything happens in your name through the county clerk's office, we're gonna show you how to set something up so that you'll know. And I'm still working on the panelists. I might bring Tiffany because she's pretty smart about this stuff.
There's one thing, speaking of scams, AARP, if you go on their website, at the top it says scams. And you can put in your zip code and it will tell you the local scams that are going on.
Oh.
So it'll say, I've been getting calls from Verizon, I've got this, Amazon scam, so there are national scams, but there are local scams, as she's talking about, like with homeowners and this and that. So go to AARP.com, top of the button, it's called AARP Watchdog. And you can also sign up for an email alert so that you'll be alerted of new things going on in your specific, just North Palm Beach, or just Jupiter, or just something. So their website is fantastic for resources.
Tiffany, do you have to be a member in order to do that?
Also, the Florida State Attorney General has started something called Seniors versus Crime, and they have a special office. So if you're the victim of crime, they will help support you in that. So if someone from their office is coming, it's gonna be good. So I spend a lot of my time finding good people for you. So tell your friends to come. We got more tables back there. We'll get more chairs. We'll raise more money, sell some more beer, get some chairs. But I just want to thank you all for coming. Make sure that you fill out those little pink sheets and turn them in, because that's how we grow and get better. And if you want to hear from anybody here, make sure to check the box. There's a back side too. We are growing the sheet, because some people were writing things in the margins but not putting their name on the sheet. So put your name, so if there's something that we need to talk about, I can get with you and we can discuss it. There's no shame or blame in this, just you're gonna have the conversation. Tricia, you got a question? I see it.
I know that some people on the board here are work for organizations and things like that, the Lighthouse and so forth. But how do I hire Brent, or does he work through an agency? How is all this stuff paid for by the consumer?
So, depending on the service that you want, some of it's private pay, some of it's insurance covered. My card's the black one with the red circle on it over there. But if you have any questions, like if you just want to pick my brain, just call me. I'm really happy to talk and answer whatever. It's just certain items across the board, trying to navigate what is covered and isn't covered. Like, I know Jane owns her own company. I own my own company. Allison owns her own company. Jeannie works for Lighthouse. Tiffany owns her own company. So we're out. I mean, yes, we all are here. The reason why we work in the industry that we work in is to help people, but we also support our families this way. So, we love the opportunity to help you, help friends, help relatives, and we all work together. So if you have questions, just call any one of us. We'll get you the right resource.
It's okay.
There's a table against the wall over there with some aids and appliances that you can look at for the blind. But in answering this question, my business card is over there, and you can call the Lighthouse and refer yourself, and we will get back to you and get your eye report, that's important, and provide those services for free. Okay.
Yeah, so everyone's information is there. My contact information is here, so make sure you get that. And as you're walking out, hand Claudette your pink sheet. You don't get to cross the line until we have your pink sheet. Thank you all for coming.
Yes.